Section 31 of the History of Esculent Fish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Larry Wilson. The History of Esculent Fish by Roger North. Of frosts and the ways to save the fish in them. The great plague and bane of fish in moats, great and small, and other little standing waters, are great and sharp frosts. I have used all the tricks that I have heard of, which are not a few, or could devise to save my fish in such waters. And yet in 10 years' time I have lost 3,000 or 4,000 carps. But yet I have found ways to save the life of many a fair carp, when my neighbors have lost all, which I shall declare as my own experience, and may be profitable upon like occasions to any that will use them. First, as to the sorts of fish that suffer most, I can only say that the tench, if any, is frost-proof, and will shift in extremity. But if the frost be intense and long, the other sorts, as carps, eels, pike, perch, and roach, will go near to perish. And I have found not any great difference of hardness, but when one fish complains, they are all in imminent danger. The waters most obnoxious to frost are such as standing, shallow, or small. For if there be either water current or fresh spring, no fish dies for frost. If an hard winter succeeds a very dry summer, the fish suffers most. If the ponds are large and deep, such as I have directed to be made upon the channel of water, which may not run but upon floods or rain, the fish will never die in frost there. But such waters you must look upon as the asylum for the securing the fish in extremity. And all that you can put in there alive, though through a hole in the ice, will certainly live. If the bank of a pond sows, it will preserve the fish in frost. The reason, as I imagine, is because where the water sows out, the air will bubble in, which relieves the fish. Or perhaps it might put the water into some degree of motion. If so, the stirring water with a board flat upon a pole put under the ice might do good, but this is conjecture. The symptom of mortality to your fish in time of frost is their showing themselves, which if you perceive in the least, conclude all are going, and without a thaw that water will not keep them alive. For it is the nature of fish in cold weather to lie as close and deep as they can, so that nothing but the pangs of death shall make them move. If no holes are broke, they will rise and stick to the ice, and be frozen to it. If there be holes, they will move about them as if they came up for fresh air. When the frost hath continued long and hard, that you begin to suspect your fish, you may take a trial by cutting holes in several places, some in the middle, and some by the sides of the waters that are obnoxious. That is, after about 10 days freezing. And by the appearing of the fish or not, you shall discover the temper and condition they are in. Therefore watch them diligently. If they are not well, they will appear. Then prepare all hands to take out every fish as near as you can. For what you take out you may preserve, and all that are left behind are probably lost. Many use to break holes to relieve the fish, and as they think, give them fresh air. Some have put dung bound up together into the holes, as if the warmth of that keeping the hole open would preserve the fish. But these ways and all others that I have heard of, except taking out the fish, are mere vanities. I have cut many holes and large ones, and employed men to take out the ice, and keep them open, but to no advantage. One thing appeared very oddly to me when I took that course. Many of the fish in a large moat had gathered together in a corner, averted to the south, where the ground rose under an high bank, to a shoal water. These fish by their motion and heat, together with the sun's heat that was strongest there, kept the water from freezing, and I could plainly see every fish, great and small. There were carp, pike, perch, eels, and fry in abundance, collected as if it had been a general council of all orders of fish, met to consider what was to be done in that extremity. Very diverting to observe. But to leave conceits and come to the only expedient which I have found effectual to save the fish in this case, and that is to set great tubs or vats full of water in some outhouse, not far from a fire, and as fast as the fish appear, take them out and put them there, and from thence you may convey them in a basket to your great waters, where you may make an hole about 8 feet deep, and putting the fish in, preserve them. Or if you please, you may keep them there, freshening the water every 12 hours until the frost breaks, and put them into their own houses again. You may plainly perceive how the fish, though stunned and numb with the frost coming into the fat, will by degrees recover and be perfectly well again, and thus you may keep them 5 weeks or longer if the frost continues. I have gone farther. Sometimes fish have been to all appearance dead, others frozen and enveloped in ice. Yet by this method I have preserved them, for heating water and putting it into the fat until I brought the water there to a midsummer heat, and then I have put such fish in, with their shell of ice upon them, and in 6 or 7 hours the ice was gone, and the fish alive and well. And so I have delivered them to my great waters, brisk as any. This may seem strange, but it is most true, and to be attested if need were. Therefore in frosts use this and no other means, for all else will prove but to labor in vain. In small waters, where is the greatest danger of frost, observe never to put in stock, but the last week of February or beginning of March, for then they take less hurt in removing, and they may be taken out in October after, and so all hazard of frost prevented. And if you venture them there one winter, be sure never let them run the hazard of another. So you have 2 summers' feed, which will raise a carp from store to the table, and venture but 1 winter's frost, and in winter they neither feed nor grow anything considerable. End of section 31.